watching Fiscal TV.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Fiscal TV. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jim Caselli. On today's show, Marisela Mercado will introduce us to the Custom Item Payment Approval Enhancement. Irene Lung will be here from the Fiscal Learning Center. David Simbel will be here from the Fiscal Service Center. He has some ticket information for you, and will introduce you to the newest member of our Fiscal TV team, Katie Rose. Let's get today's show rolling with Marisela Mercado. Marisela, thank you so much for being with us today. And I know that you're going to be giving us a presentation on the CIP approval enhancement. But before we get going with that, how about giving us a little bit of your background?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. So again, I am Marisela Mercado, and I've been working on the Fiscal project for about 5 years now. I'm currently the supervisor for the AR production team, and I'm part of the SCO Fiscal team. Our team is dedicated to Fiscal implementation and operations and maintenance of the SCO processes.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, let's get to your presentation.
Okay, so I am pleased to announce the Customer Item Payment Approval Enhancement. This will go live in July of 2022. This enhancement will allow all customer item payments to go through the deposit pre-approval process, which is similar to the current direct journal payment workflow process. To allow the transactions to go through the deposit pre-approval process, the system will require Fiscal users to select a request type when applying payments to an AR item. Based on the selected request type, the user will be asked for required payment information, and the deposit payment will be processed as pre-approved or will route to SCO's State Accounting and Reporting Division, which is known as SARD, for approval based on the SCO remittance or TC47 guidance matrix. On this slide, you will see examples of request types that will be routed for approval. Prior to July 2022, we will provide Fiscal departments with the SCO remittance and remittance correction CIP matrix for more information on the new requirement, and the transaction will be pre-approved, systematically reviewed, or will workflow to SCO for review. The payment process will remain the same under this enhancement, but users will see more new requirements under payment completion steps. The process begins with receipt of payments. Then the AR payment processor will be asked to enter the remittances or payments with the required information, which includes a request type and required documents. The payments will be submitted after legal authority and certification are provided. CIP submitted for approval will go through the deposit pre-approval process, which will determine if the deposit will be pre-approved or routed to SCO for review. Similar to the AR update process, the deposit approval process runs 4 times a day, at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 p.m., and 3 p.m. In summary, new features from this enhancement are adding a request type for all CIP, and based on the request type selected, users will be asked for a set of related documents. Legal authority, reason for request, and certification will be required that's prior to submitting the payment. The new item payment details page is created to allow users to complete CIP by providing the request type, legal and reason for request, required document information, certification, and submission for approval. The document information will be pre-populated when remitting using a deposit created from a deposit slip. The document information will need to be entered manually when remitting using a $0 deposit. This is similar to the Create Account page used to enter direct journal payment details. The CIP will be available to view on this page after the AR update batch process has ran on the deposit payment. The accounting entries shown on this page will be the chart of account that will be remitted to the state fund and will be picked up by the outbound interface to post to SCO Legacy. The new item payment details page is also available for remittance corrections. This page will have required deposit information, such as request type, legal legacy authority, and reason for request, certification and submission for approval, as well as legacy description. The document information will need to be manually entered when using a $0 deposit for the correction, but it can be copied from one payment sequence to another. Certification can be completed for all sequences on the last payment sequence on the deposit. Accounting entries shown on this page will be the chart of account that will be corrected and picked up by the outbound interface to post to SCO Legacy. Details on the new item payment details page are as follows. Remittances and remittance corrections applied on a CIP will be on the new item payment details page after the AR update process has ran on the deposit payment. This page is available for the departments to add payment information based on the SEO guidance matrix for CIP. Accounting entries shown on this page will be the chart of account that will be remitted to the state fund for TC47, the chart of account that will be corrected on the remittance for TC35 or TC38. After the CIP has been approved or pre-approved, the information will be available on the Review Payment All Payments page. The All Payments page will also be updated to include the accounting entries for the CIP as well as CIP details such as request type, legal authority, and approval history. The scope of this enhancement is that CIPs are now part of workflow and will require SCO approvals based on request type approval configuration rules listed on the new SCO remittance TC47 guidance matrix by request type for CIP and the SCO remittance corrections, which is the TC35 or TC38 guidance matrix by request type. Departments are now required to select a request type when applying correcting payments to an AR item based on the selected request type. The user will be asked for required information, legal authority and reason for request, certification, submission for approval. CIP submitted for approval will now go through the deposit pre-approval process. Prior to July 2022, please provide feedback to Fiscal on the new business process requirements. Please update your department's business process to incorporate the changes and review upcoming communications and job aid from Fiscal. Thank you so much.
Marisela, thank you so much for that information. That's really, really nice. I know that you mentioned July 2022. So is there a date when this will be implemented?
So we don't yet have a specific date. We're hoping July 1st, 2022, which will be the start of the new fiscal year, but that's not yet set in stone. When we do have that information, we will provide that to the departments via communication.
Okay, so communications will be going out, so everybody keep your eyes open for that. I'd also like to let you know that Marisela will be here with us next month on Fiscal TV, and you're going to be doing a demo on the CIP approval enhancement.
Correct.
Good. Well, we look forward to seeing you then, and thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks again to Marisela Mercado for being here with us today. And once again, she will be here next month with a demo for the CIP enhancement. Well, the FLC recently celebrated its one-year anniversary, and Irene Leung is here to bring us up to date on that. Irene? Good afternoon, Irene. Thanks so much for being on Fiscal TV with us today.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for inviting me to your show.
Hey, before we get started with the FSC information, why don't you give us a little bit of your background?
Sure. I joined Fiscal in 2017 as manager over the month-end and year-end support team. In 2020, shortly after the pandemic started, I got the opportunity to join the Workforce Development Center to oversee its new training team. Along with that, the opportunity to work on the initiative of implementing a new learning management system, now we call it the Fiscal Learning Center.
Okay, speaking of the Fiscal Learning Center, how about telling us what that actually is?
The Fiscal Learning Center was launched in February last year. The goal of it is to offer users and improve the learning experience and have all learning materials of the Fiscal Learning System consolidated in one location. In the Fiscal Learning Center, you will find all Fiscal System learning content, including instructor-led training, web-based training, job aids, infographics, business process flowcharts, reference guides, videos in a single location. You have access to material that is up to date and updated regularly to keep pace with the latest system changes and user needs. We encourage you to log in to explore all the materials available to support you as the Fiscal end users.
Now, I understand that congratulations are in order. You just had your first anniversary. And can you give us some details about the successes from your first year?
Sure. Our virtual instructor-led training program continued to be in high demand. During the past year, 88 virtual instructor-led training sessions were delivered to over 4,000 attendees through the Fiscal Learning Center. We consistently receive great feedback from our attendees. Last month, we launched the flipped classroom style virtual training with the labor distribution class. We are very excited about this new training program. The team has been working very hard toward launching it. This allows more users to access the virtual instructor-led training course content. The flipped classroom style learning will allow users the ability to study at their own pace, and users can retake the material at any time. This new virtual training format includes lecture videos, interactive exercises, assessments, and other learning materials. Once the curriculum is completed, users will have the opportunity to register for a live Q&A session with the Fiscal subject matter experts. In addition, the Fiscal Learning Center currently has close to 1,400 learning objects, 56% of which have been updated in the past year, and 36% of which are new materials added in the past year. 7 new virtual instructor-led training courses were launched last year, covering topics across all modules, and we are planning to add more VILT courses this year. All job aids have been converted to a new format and presented in a consistent and predictable document structure that maximizes clarity and accessibility. These are only some of the many accomplishments during the first year of the Fiscal Learning Center. Perhaps the most important accomplishment of all is knowing that the Fiscal Learning Center has helped our users. We appreciate all the positive feedback users provided us, and we'll continue to expand our learning content and program and incorporate your feedback in our development processes.
Wow, that's quite a bit. That's something. That's one big year right there. So that's your first year. Tell us what's ahead for the FLC.
We continue to work on expanding our virtual instructor-led training program. We are excited to launch 2 new VILT classes in April. A new PO class covering functionalities on closing a purchase order, and a class on cash management functionalities. Announcements for these classes were sent out last week. In addition, we plan to expand the flipped classroom style virtual training format to other modules. So be on the lookout for future communications from the Fiscal Learning Center on this and other new training programs. We continuously work on updating and delivering new training content to better support our users. Please don't hesitate to send us your comments or questions. Let us know how we're doing and how we can better support your new or existing training needs.
Well, it sure sounds like that's what you're doing, supporting our users. And of course, that's very, very important to help them navigate through the system. Irene, thank you so much for being with us today. And I know that the FLC is appreciated by all of our users. And again, thanks again for being with us today.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks again to Irene for being with us today. And I'm sure all of our end users appreciate all of the hard work that her team is doing to help our end users navigate through Fiscal. And now it's time to welcome back David Simbel from the Fiscal Service Center. Welcome, David. It's always great to have you with us.
Thanks, Jim. It's always great to be here.
So, what do you have for us today?
Today, I'd like to tell you about a change that will actually be migrating tonight. ServiceNow will begin sending notifications on a weekly basis to callers with tickets that have the status of on hold awaiting user info. These tickets are put in this status when the analyst assigned to the ticket requires additional information from the caller in order to complete resolution. Effective Friday, March 25th, these notifications will be sent out weekly to callers and any emails that are on the ticket's watch list.
I actually saw that communique today. So what else do you have for us?
Yes, well, the FSC has been receiving quite a few tickets for users that don't have an actual email tied to their secondary user ID. So they aren't able to reset their passwords on their own or receive any of the warning notifications that their account is going to be disabled due to inactivity. Departments should work with their IT department so that these secondary user IDs have actual active email addresses tied to them. Other than that, as always, the FSC continues to encourage our users to access the ServiceNow self-service portal to manage their tickets to streamline process times. If further assistance is needed, Fiscal L1s are here to support. If you have any questions about how Fiscal uses secondary user IDs, please contact the FSC by calling us at 855-347-2250 or email us at fiscalservicecenter@fiscal.ca.gov. FSC analysts are available Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
David, thanks so much for being with us. As always, some great information, and we greatly appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
Okay, now it's time to introduce you to our newest Fiscal TV member, Katie Rose. Katie, welcome to Fiscal and welcome to Fiscal TV.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here, Jim.
Let's start off with a little bit of your background.
Sure. So I've been with the state for about 9.5 years. 6.5 of those have been in the communications arena. So doing all sorts of communications, many hats. Graphic design, branding, newsletters, copy editing, writing, web development, social media, all of those kinds of communication stuff. And then I was in the workforce area, so I was doing innovation and learning about program there. But you know, Jim, I have to say the one thing I haven't done yet is be on a webcast for my job. So this is very exciting.
That's great. So what is your actual title here at Fiscal?
My actual title is writer and social media manager. So that means that I'm going to be doing things like writing the Focus newsletter. Well, not all of the Focus newsletter, some of the Focus newsletter. Writing talking points, reviewing and editing things that are external for people. So that's the writing part, and then sort of the social media part is going to be like content creation and working with our team to develop graphics and assets and video and all sorts of fun stuff around that. And yeah, so if you are not following our social media channels, now's the time. We usually put it up in a title card somewhere on the broadcast, or you can go to our Fiscal website, and we would love for you to, you know, like and share, and we want to make it a place for you to get good information, much like Fiscal TV.
Well, I know that probably the most impressive thing about your new job is that you are going to be on Fiscal TV with us.
Yes, yeah, I'm gonna be doing all of these other things, and then got a background obviously in communications, so I will be I think a lot of people know Mark's Minutes. They know Mark Malnico, who is the who was in my position before. And so I'm going to be filling sort of that role, giving you updates on what's happening at Fiscal, you know, keeping my ear to the ground and letting everybody know sort of what's happening and what I'm learning. So I'm looking forward to it, Jim.
I've heard tell that when you're introduced, you're sometimes introduced to people as the new Mark.
Yes. Yes, I've got that. I think that's a good sign. I think that means that people really liked Mark. I've been joking. I've been saying, well, maybe, you know, one day they'll refer to Mark as the old Katie. So we'll see how that goes.
There you go. Well, and as you said, we had Mark's Minutes. Are you working on a name for your segment?
I think it's going to be Katie's Corner. How does
Katie's
that
Corner?
sound?
I like it. I like it a lot. That's
Great.
good. Well, look, congratulations joining Fiscal, and we're going to really look forward to seeing you here pretty soon on Fiscal TV, maybe April, and if not, then definitely in May.
We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for the introduction, and I'm excited to be here.
Great. Glad to have you. Thanks again. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today for Fiscal TV. I'd obviously like to thank Katie. We'd also like to thank David Simbel, Irene Lung, and Marisela Mercado for being with us. And don't forget, again, Marisela will be back next month with us for the Customer Item Payment Approval Enhancement demo. If you would like to see this or any of our Fiscal TV shows, you can see them on our YouTube channel. Please remember to tell your colleagues about Fiscal TV, and from everybody here at Fiscal TV, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in April.